Hi, this is Lisa from Barclay Jones. So we're going to have a quick look at LinkedIn Publisher today. Now, some of you might have it and some of you might not. Some of you might not even know what on earth I'm talking about. But if you have a look at my profile, you'll see that I do have Publisher and I've published a number of posts, and you can also see the number of followers I have, which by the way is a mixture of my existing connections and also people who've decided to perhaps not connect with me but just want to watch me or stalk me. And if you're a recruiter, you will understand how valuable that feature is. I'm going to press see more. You can do this on anyone's profile, not just your own, and you can obviously have a look at the publisher elements that have already been published, and you can see clearly how many views they've had, etc., and comments, etc. Now, if you've watched my LinkedIn notifications video, and good boys and girls out there will have already done that, you will know that if your flag lights up at the top, it's because something has happened within your network to do with update statuses, connections, people liking your posts. And I posted a new publisher post this morning, and we can see that 2 people have liked it, which is a good start. So let's have a quick look at what LinkedIn Publisher is and how you'll actually use it. Now, before we do this, let's just make a note of the fact that I bet you're thinking, brilliant, I'm going to start using it for jobs, because every good recruiter wants to spam people with their jobs, don't they? Well, obviously I'm being sarcastic. Now, you should read the rights and responsibilities for your posts on LinkedIn's publishing platform, and I'll put a link to this particular element at the end of the YouTube video and also within the blog that I'm going to post on this as well. But just bear in mind that there is a section that discourages self-servingly advertising, businesses, services, etc. We interpret that to mean jobs. You do the same. We are hearing from various parts of LinkedIn that using this for jobs is not encouraged, and obviously we don't want a disruption to your service because either people have unsubscribed from you, which they can do because they're sick of your boring jobby stuff if they're passive, and or you get blocked because LinkedIn do decide that jobs is not the appropriate use for this system. Bearing in mind, again, if you've watched my notifications video, you can simply click on the flag and have a look at people and see whether or not you actually want to unsubscribe from their posts. Now, I would never unsubscribe from Marina because her content is fantastic, but you can do that and they won't even know that you have. So how do you know if you've got Publisher? Well, first of all, you're going to go onto your home page and you're going to notice that where you would normally update your status, you have a pencil. So I'm going to click onto the pencil here to create a post. Now, there are a number of things that you can do with this, but none of it is complicated, which is a breath of fresh air. You can add links to your blog, so links to your profile, links to groups that you've created, links to your Twitter feed, links to your overall website. You can also embed other media. So you'll find if you've read some of my publisher posts that I've embedded some of my YouTube videos. And I'm going to show you how to do this in a second. And you can also add an image. Now, again, if you follow me on social media, you'll see lots of stats coming out of my streams talking about doubling your engagement using images. And we certainly ran a really successful webinar on this recently to help you make your job posts more engaging. So let's quickly create a post now. So the first thing I'm going to do is add a title. The next thing I'm interested in is adding an image. And then we need to add our text. Now, if you've pasted the text from somewhere else, it will clearly bring the format across, and you can obviously do something about that. If you're wondering what these little grey highlights are, you need to watch my video on the Ginger spell and grammar checking app. It is invaluable. Bearing in mind, obviously, I've copied this from somewhere else just for speed. You'll notice there are links in here already, and you can obviously use the link button to sort this out. And we also talked about adding some embedded media, for example, a video or some other kinds of content as well. So I'm just going to press the embed option, paste it in my YouTube content and press submit. So maybe create a heading and choose a heading format just to make it stand out a little bit more. Now, some other clever things to think about when you're actually adding publisher posts as well is if you have an existing stream of publisher posts, then it's a good idea to point back to them, read more publisher posts, and maybe you also want to point back to your website as well. And again, you can use the linking option at the very top of the format screen to help you do this. Now, you can preview the post clearly, and we obviously recommend that you do that. The next thing obviously you're then going to do is press publish. Now, you can press save and finishing it off at some other time, and that's all good stuff. So I'm going to press publish. Now, the fact that I've got my Twitter icon ticked as well will really massively help, because my Twitter audience will then navigate back into my LinkedIn profile, which helps with my profile view, so kind of joins my lovely social media streams together, which is a really good tactic. And as a result of publishing that post, it will then show up on your LinkedIn profile. It will update your status, which is good. And anyone that is following you or connected with you, and some of my lovely recruiters out there have thousands of connections, their connections flags will light up and they can see that this post has been created. So you're attracting huge levels of viewings. Now, a little tip for you, which I found has worked an absolute treat, is to republish stuff. And I'm not saying duplicate your content, but just massage the post in some way to get it back in people's mind's eye. And I did an experiment with the how recruiters can actually use Twitter content that I published a couple of weeks ago. And what I basically did was I went into the edit post option. Now note it's had nearly 2,000 views and 52 likes, lovely stuff. Pressed edit post. Now, you don't have to edit anything. You could simply press update and not change a thing. By pressing update, you also get to update your followers, which means that their flags light up again. Now, don't bore them with spammy jobs, we've already talked about this, and make sure the content you're writing is relevant to them, not just to you. We talk about this a lot online. Realize, please, your clients and candidates, whether they be passive or active, are online for themselves, so make it worth their while. So, think about publishing your posts. Think about making sure that the information is attractive to others and making sure that their flags light up regularly. And think about how you can massage this information to get it going out more regularly than simply just a one-hit wonder. Now, something else that's extremely useful is to understand who's following you. And bear in mind, please, people can follow you on LinkedIn without being connected and without even asking permission. And as a recruiter, you'll probably like the fact that you can do that. So that's something to consider. Think about who you could be following. So I've published a load of content, and I can go into my kind of edit screen where I can see all of my different published posts, and I can click on my followers tab. This will give me some pretty interesting analytics as to the kinds of people following me, the industries, etc., where they might be based, what level they might be at, and obviously I can see my new followers here as well. Unfortunately, I can't see if I'm connected to them. Maybe LinkedIn are working on that, and tomorrow it'll be fixed. So obviously I can have a look at my followers, and I can check out who the most recent ones are and maybe connect with them as well. And that gives me some fantastic intelligence.